That's a wounded veteran! Yes! That's a wounded veteran! Yes, sir! That's a wounded warrior right there! They got a deal in his fucking head! Yes,
Hey troops, Merry Christmas. It's Jeff Evely, Ops Sgt-Maj for Veterans for Freedom. I have a few special guests with me here today, and a few more I think that are going to be straggling their way in. It's Christmas, so everybody's kind of doing their thing right now, but you know, there are a lot of folks out there, I think probably especially in the veteran community right now, that could you know, probably use a hand, or you know, they're probably feeling the holidays right now. A lot of people are lonely out there and they're by themselves, and so we thought we'd bring a few folks in here to talk about coping strategies and just kind of share in some fellowship here this season. So without further ado, I'm going to bring in Sean Arndt and Saxon Murray. What's going on, guys? Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah, good to see you guys.
Yeah. So you at home right now then in Cape Breton?
Yeah, I'm at home. I'm in Cape Breton, and I just came back from my mother's place. We were doing the turkey thing and all that stuff. It was a pretty quiet day, really. There was you know, there's not really anybody around this year, it seems. It's just kind of me and Mom. And I got my Make Christmas Great Again shirt on.
Nice.
Yeah, look at that.
I'm so offended.
Yeah.
Hi, Sean. Nice to meet you.
Hey man, how you doing? I'm just hanging out in Washington. I live and work on a gun range here, so I'm just using the classroom. They got good Wi-Fi, better Wi-Fi than in my trailer.
Wow, lucky you.
Had to run away from
the
Commie Canada.
Commie Canada, yeah. Sean is a transplant, eh? Like he's a refugee down in the United States there, so he's very committed to his approach to the revolution here. He's all in, so
that's a good idea. How'd you end up down there then?
I got a work visa for like a Firearms Academy of Seattle is what they're called, but their facility's not anywhere near Seattle. Yeah, and I got a job here as a consultant, and I do the range maintenance. It's pretty cool.
That is pretty cool, man. Lucky you. That's sweet, especially to have something to do when you're escaping Commie Canada. I think that's the big
yeah, right.
thing that
like,
steers a lot of people away. So was it easy to get into that situation? Like
you
get
need
the
a
green
lawyer.
card, or
you got to pay for an immigration lawyer, and got to know the right people and fill the right paperwork out and pay your dues here and there, and you're good.
How long did it take you, man?
Canada.
For the TN visa, it was like about 60 days to get everything ready because they approved that one at the border. But when I get my permanent residency, it's a little different process.
Okay. So what was the visa you got at the border then?
Called the TN visa, temporary national.
Okay. All right, that's cool. And how long is that for?
3 years.
Okay, so it's not that hard.
No.
All right, so I'm not going to have.
And you don't need a vaccine if you cross the border at certain states. They're not going to ask you.
All right.
Like there's everyone's like, oh, I can't go to America. It's like, no, just cross at Montana or Idaho. They won't ask.
All right, good to know. Yeah, I mean,
I've never been asked.
It's always good to have a backup plan, folks. And you know, I always say the Second Amendment is the legal framework by which the United States is set up to be the last ditch on earth from which free men may one day stand against global tyranny. So you know, if it all goes south here, I'm going south there.
Yeah, and the good thing here is even like Washington, certain counties are pretty liberal, but even within the county, they have their own enforcement of the law. So if in Lewis County, they will not infringe on Second Amendment rights. So they can pass any law they want in the state. The county just won't enforce it because elected sheriffs, elected judges, who knew?
Nice.
Who knew that'd be a good thing?
Well, I saw that actually when I was down in the States. I was down in Florida for 3 years, and I was like, wow, there's kind of a real balancing of power down there, I think, where it's not the case that the state can just kind of come in there and push people around with law enforcement because they elect their own sheriffs.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's a really neat system, I think. It's complex. We look at it like it's a big mess and stuff like that, but it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be messy. Self-governance, really, and they do the whole thing where they won't even pass a budget or pay anybody unless the politicians can come to an agreement. So if they don't pass a budget, they don't get paid. Like, it's that simple. Yeah, not bad.
Not like you don't have people like Brenda Leckie in charge of national security.
Yeah, we're in trouble there. I think we're in a lot of trouble, Canada. But anyway,
just going to vote the libs out. Just going to vote the libs out, man. It'll fix everything. Just vote, bud. Just vote.
Yeah, I know. I get the comments.
Yeah, but I don't think that's going to help. I sense sarcasm there.
Massive sarcasm. I'm like so black-pilled now. Not sorry to black pill Christmas, but I'm the positive guy. Like, I think I'll be fine, but I don't know about everybody else. That's what worries me. Yeah,
that's right. I think that's kind of where I'm coming from too. I'm just like, I'll do something. I'll survive. I'll have a life after this, but whether or not there's going to be any Canada involved might be another matter. But it's too soon to be talking like that, especially with the new year around the corner. We got a lot of balls in motion, and all kinds of talk about a spring election again already. Election after election, it sounds like. But anyway,
Jagmeet's gonna stab his buddy in the back, or what? Or
well, he did say
around, I guess, would be the appropriate thing to say.
He did say, when I'm prime minister, and the entire house just laughed in his face.
I know, I saw that. That was awesome.
Yeah, that was so great. Yeah. Didn't even have to say anything. Everybody just started laughing at him, and he was like, okay, I'll try this again. Oh my God, you're a clown.
Yeah.
Little Fringe is saying, what happened every 4 years? I don't think we ever had that law here. That was really just kind of a cultural norm, and it's probably about time we made it a law, because they're wasting like millions on these elections, and it's got nothing to do with anything to do with us. It's got everything to do with them and their Game of Thrones. But here comes our fearless leader, Drew. What's going on?
How you guys doing?
Good, brother. Good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you guys.
Yeah, Merry Christmas, man.
Yeah, same to you guys.
So, Sax, what did you get up to this Christmas anyway? I didn't ask you when you came in. What are you doing with your holiday?
I drove across Quebec, and now I'm in Gatineau. And then tomorrow morning, I'm going to go see my kids for 2 weeks, and then begin working somewhere in Ontario for the winter.
Oh, nice. Is that
yeah, it's going to suck.
Is that somewhere as in an undisclosed location in Ontario, or as in you're going looking for
just
one?
More so because I don't want to like get doxxed right now or anything like that, because apparently like
but I'm just asking, like, you have something lined up in terms of
I'll be doing my job in the Owen Sound area, I guess I could say that.
Oh yeah, no, I wasn't trying to probe.
No. Yeah, sorry. Anyways.
Yeah, very much. Drew, what are you up to today, brother? Merry Christmas.
Yeah, Merry Christmas. Digging out of about 2 feet of snow. I think this is the biggest storm that we've had up here. The plowing is just taking forever. So yeah, it was like I was walking down the chicken coop, and I'm 6'5", and the snow was up to my top of my thighs. Like, it really came down here. So yeah, just digging out of that. It was pretty crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I've just been catching it on the news here and there. Something about a train or a tree falling on a train, and all kinds of stuff going on.
Where's that at?
That's in Ontario there somewhere. There was a tree that fell on a train, and a bunch of people just got their freaking holiday ruined, man. They had an awful time. It was like backed up toilets, somebody throwing up in the aisle because the toilets were backed up, and it was just a goddamn mess. So, yeah, happy holidays. But I don't know. We get these storms. Storms is a thing. Seems like we used to be able to deal with this a hell of a lot better than we do these days. We had a power outage in Nova Scotia because of the hurricane, and it was the longest power outage. Everybody was saying the same thing. Nobody had ever seen a power outage so long in their lifetime. So I don't know. I think maybe it's 6 of one and half a dozen the other. Sure, it was a bad storm, but we're not very good at responding to this stuff these days, it seems.
All the millennials in the workforce Googling how to do it instead of doing it.
Could be. I don't know. I like to go. I go easy on those millennials, man. I think they're all right. They're not the ones running anything, by the way. It's the boomers. Millennials don't have any power in our society. But...
Don't get Jeff started on the boomers.
That's right. I mean, I could really probably go on for a long time with some of this Christmas stuff. I've been thinking about it. I was reading the Torah this morning, and I want to show you guys something. Hang on. You got me on this now. So I just pulled this up.
Becoming very un-Christmassy all of a sudden.
It's not un-Christmassy.
Well, Hanukkah was just happened. So
look at this. I was reading through Genesis this morning, and I have a copy of the Torah on my shelf, and I was just kind of sitting there having some coffee.
Well, that's the New Testament's the Torah, or the Old Testament's the Torah.
Yeah, that's right. There's the Torah. There's a few different ones. Torah, Pentateuch, Septuagint is the Greek. This one here really caught my eye. Here's chapter 2, Genesis chapter 2, verse 4. These are the generations of the heaven and the earth when they were created in the day that the Lord made God and the earth and the heavens. When no plant or food yielded on the earth, no herb of the field, and yet sprung up, and the Lord had God caused rain up in the earth, blah, blah, blah. But this really caught my eye. These are the generations of the heaven and the earth. So I think that fits very well with a lot of what I've been saying in terms of how we've been telling stories over the years, using generational archetypes and whatnot. And of course, there you can see in the Garden of Eden, they have the elder prophet archetype is there as Yahweh, and Adam and Eve appear as the hero archetype, millennial. So I think it's a fourth turning, Garden of Eden. But I think that's a story that the Padre and I are going to do together. I've been meaning to do that with him for a while. So, but he couldn't make it today, guys. He's 8 hours ahead of us. So whatever that is, it's like 4 o'clock in the morning there. Yeah. And so what did you guys do to commemorate the holiday anyway? Everybody's kind of on their own this year.
We had my boss's family, they do Christmas on Christmas Eve, so we had dinner there and exchanged some gifts. And then this morning I got up and shot some bullets, and now I'm hanging out here doing this, walk my dog.
Yeah, right on. Yeah,
I went to. Oh,
go ahead.
Sorry. I went to a church with my girlfriend's grandmother, and it was all French, so I don't know what was going on, but I enjoyed it. It was good to do. I haven't gotten to do that in a while. So I did that, and I spent probably about 4 days with my girlfriend's family before that. So that's kind of what I did. And then I'm going to have my kids for 2 weeks. So starting tomorrow is Christmas, I guess. So I got that to look forward to. I'm pretty happy about that. So I can't really complain. It's just Christmas, the day itself. I don't really got much going on with my girlfriend's 2 cats. Yeah. That's it.
I was saying, because I was just down at my mother's place, and usually like the place is packed and everybody's around, and I'm watching the time because I got to get to the next place with the kids and on to the next place after that, and hand them off to mom and so on and so forth. And it's always really hectic. So it was kind of nice to just sort of kind of take my time going down there, have some brunch, and just kind of sit around and come home, take a nap, go back and have some turkey. Very quiet holiday though. And but anyway, that's a sign of the times, I think. And before I go over to Drew, I'm going to bring in the one, the only Papillon Man. No, Daryl. How you doing, brother?
Not bad.
Yeah, good to have you aboard, man.
What's that?
I said, good to have you aboard. What do you got on your head?
One of my cockatiels.
Nice.
He likes to rest up there. It's like a helicopter pad.
Nice smooth landing up there, right?
Yeah.
Right on.
The other one comes down once in a while too, but this one likes my head.
Yeah. Did you leave a pack of smokes and a pair of good boots out for John McClane? Was John McClane good to you this year or what? Santa? I'm saying John McClane isn't Die Hard. No Die Hard fans here? Come on. You're supposed to leave a pack of smokes and a pair of boots out for John McClane every year.
I got it. I got the joke. Definitely a Christmas movie for sure.
Absolutely. I heard John, or what's his name? What's the actor's name? Blanking. Bruce Willis. I heard Bruce Willis said, he said it's not a Christmas movie. I'm like, what are you talking about? It takes place on Christmas at a Christmas party.
I got the Nakatomi Plaza Christmas party survivor.
No,
At the Nakatomi
actually, it's Thanksgiving. It's the U.S. Thanksgiving that movie's made about.
What?
No, it's a Christmas
Yeah.
party for sure. 100%.
They're heading home for Thanksgiving. Yeah, I just watched it here the other day.
Good idea.
See, you young fuckers can always learn from a graybeard.
Is that why he's taking the big Santa on the plane with him and all that stuff? Is because it's Thanksgiving?
No, watch her again. I heard them clearly say they're heading home for Thanksgiving.
Okay. Well, I don't know. I mean, when he killed the guy in the elevator,
really stoned. But
You're really stoned because they're at a Christmas party at Nakatomi Plaza. That's the whole premise of the
I know.
reason they're there.
I've been wrong once before.
But I was just going to say, the guy in the elevator, remember there was a scene where he broke the guy's neck in the elevator and then he stayed on the roof there and let the doors open. And he wrote on the guy's sweater, "Now I have a machine gun. Ho, ho, ho." That's Christmas.
Yeah, I would vote Christmas. That it was a Christmas movie over Thanksgiving. That's for sure.
I couldn't find it though. That was always the tradition with my mother and I, as we would retire to the TV room there and watch Die Hard on Christmas Eve. But I couldn't find it anywhere else. What the hell? Somebody's slacking off. So Daryl, what'd you get up to for your holiday, brother?
Oh, just laid around home healing up here. I went and loaded 3/4 of a quart of green poplar firewood by myself yesterday.
Yeah.
Holy fuck, I haven't used those muscles for quite some time, it turns out.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah.
And we just wolfed down about 3 pounds of turkey, and we'll be eating turkey here for about 16 fucking days, no matter how she wants to make it. There'll be turkey pie, turkey jerky, you name her, for at least 2 weeks.
Yeah, like an Adam Sandler's Christmas. Turkey
Exactly.
for you, turkey for me. Can't believe Tyson grabbed that girl VD.
Oh my God.
Adam Sandler Christmas, guys. You don't remember Adam Sandler Christmas? The turkey song.
My God.
Yeah, I know the song you're talking about. It's pretty old. Like that's like 90s, late 90s.
Yeah. We had some good bootleg tapes back then, man. With the Adam Sandler, we're all gonna laugh at you, and the Jerky Boys, and all that stuff back then, man. That was a good comedy.
Man,
But,
80s and 90s were the best as far as I'm concerned for movies.
Yeah.
Like you can't. I don't know. I haven't watched probably movies in 10, 15 years, but there's just nothing like the stuff. I saw someone in the chat mentioned National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation with Chevy Chase, like hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
And there's so many good old school movies from that time period that I'd rather watch those 10 times than watch any of the new ones.
Yeah, I mean, Home Alone. That's another classic Christmas movie there, where it's loaded with violence. So that's another '80s flick. But yeah, I know what you mean. I think they just had way better movies back then, and they made movies for adults. You know, I mean, I don't think they know how to make movies for us anymore. They think it's all about the comic books, and you know, the comic book stuff is good. I like the special effects when I go there, but they don't really make them like they used to. You know, remember we had like Commando and
Predator.
Rambo and Predator,
Super unpolitically correct movies.
Rambo, and it was
Just think about back then. No one cared about this, you know, this diversity, inclusion, equity, and politically correct nonsense that is in every single movie now. It didn't even matter like back then. And I assume that's why the movies are much better and crappier now, is just because of that.
No, they're constantly ramming that down our throats. They're trying to shoehorn it in there at every opportunity. You know, the wokeness, the anti-whiteness, the anti-Western sentiment, all that stuff. It's even in the, you know, the what do you call it? The Marvel movies and stuff. They'll always kind of slip that little something in there about how maybe the Indian guy couldn't have the career he wanted because he was too brown or something like that. But the political correctness didn't really start coming on the scene until the 90s. And that was, it kind of got batted down a little bit back then, but now it's back with a vengeance. And, you know, I've got to say that that's because like the boomers were the ones who came up with political correctness. It was, and they were telling that to us basically when we were coming up and saying, no,
you
guys,
always discriminate against us old fuckers.
Oh, don't get them started, Daryl.
I'm not talking about necessarily you, Daryl. I'm talking about the typical boomer male. That's what I always say.
Well, not all of us old fuckers are pussies, you know.
Yeah.
Check out the waiting room. I think Mike Rude said he's there.
I got a couple of new guests joining us here. Ladies and gentlemen, we got Mike Rude and also Jill Younghusband here coming in from Edmonton. Jill, how you doing? Merry Christmas. I think she's still setting up.
Hey, Jeff, put me in the waiting room for a little bit. I was going to take my dogs out. I'll be right back.
Yeah, sure. Hey, Mike, you there, buddy? I'm not sure what's going on with Mike there. I can see him in the waiting room, but not. Oh, no, he's dropping out.
Crossland, he got to live that planes, trains, and automobiles movie this week. He just got to Cuba today.
Oh, yeah.
It was 3 days in Pearson Airport.
Oh, that was Trudeau?
No, Crossland, Danny?
Oh, crap. Yeah, I saw a picture in the chats there. It looks like he's
not nearly as happy as I am. Let me put it that way.
Yeah. But Trudeau's down in Cuba too, I think, isn't he?
Who the fuck do I know?
Lecturing us all about not
visiting his family.
Yeah.
I have so many Americans ask me if Justin Trudeau's dad is really Fidel Castro. It's probably the number one question asked.
I don't know, man. I mean, at this point, like, I wouldn't rule anything out. Mike Rude, how you doing, brother?
Not too bad. Yourself?
Oh, not bad. Merry Christmas, man. Thanks for coming aboard.
Merry Christmas, guys.
Yeah. What did
Mike, how you doing?
John? Good.
What did you do with your holiday this year, brother? Did you do anything to commemorate the day this year, or you just taking her easy?
Not much.
No. Hey, Jill, how you doing? Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. I was having a bit of audio issues.
No, we got you now. Sounds good.
Merry Christmas. Sorry,
Merry Christmas.
I forgot my
Your antlers?
tinfoil antlers.
Yeah, nice. I like it. I'm wearing my
Trying to get
Make Christmas Great Again. Check it out.
Nice.
It's my Make Christmas Great Again shirt. I love
Awesome.
it. Yeah.
Hi, Mike.
Hey, how's it going?
Hi, Saxon. Good. Hey, Sean. I haven't seen you for a while. How you doing, buddy?
I'm good.
Wonderful. Daryl, how are you feeling today after hauling all that wood?
Better than I thought I was gonna, but still far from perfect.
Well done. Well done.
Well, I was down near a ton of wood I threw on by hand.
Yeah.
They were heavy.
Yeah.
And then
Like,
I blew a tire on my trailer on the highway on the way home. I didn't even slow down. I just kept her going 8 miles with a flat tire.
oh no.
I rolled into my yard and got stuck right by my furnace. The rim sunk into the snow because it was so hot.
Uh-oh. What time did you get home?
About 5 o'clock, I guess.
Well, that's not too bad. I wish you
No,
lived
I was-
closer. I need firewood.
Oh yeah. Well, I've been scrambling around for it this fall. I got caught this summer. I didn't get any cut. And I've had a whore of a time finding wood even around here. Okay, what do you
I'm
want?
in my 3-season room with my, I can't see to turn the camera around, but let me see if you can see.
You got the stove going?
Yeah. There, you can see it.
Nice.
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 And some candles, and it's just starting to warm up. Takes about an hour. Well, it's been freaking cold out here too. It's about -13 now here in Edmonton.
Man, it's been warm
Yeah, I
out
don't
on
know
the East
where you
Coast.
find wood. Oops, sorry. I don't know where you would find wood up there. There must be guys selling it around Edmonton. There.
Yeah, I got a guy on Kijiji. But I
How
think
much?
you would probably give me a better deal, Daryl.
Well, I'd give it to you for nothing.
Right?
Especially if you came with me and made bologna sandwiches so I didn't have to drink and drive and open my bottle of baby duck and make a sandwich all at the same time
Oh, baby
while
duck.
pulling my old trailer at 40 miles an hour.
Right
on the
on.
It was an adventure.
Right on.
The only thing missing was Granny tied to the roof. Yeah.
Got folks love your wood stove there, Jill.
Oh, thank you. This is
Yeah,
my
yeah.
speakeasy.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah, I just moved in here in September and it needed a really good clean. I had to put a new stove in. It took a week to clean out the room, the windows and so on, but it's really nice. And in the spring, I'm gonna get a polished concrete floor. I'm gonna rip up the AstroTurf and get polished concrete, redo the paneling, and but yeah, this is gonna be V4F West headquarters.
Oh, wow. That sounds amazing.
Yeah. We've already had a couple of parties here with V4F West. We might have a New Year's Eve party here as well.
Oh, man, that sounds great.
And Mike and Spark have visited.
What's that?
Mike and Spark were here last month for supper.
Mike and Sparkles?
Yeah. We had a nice visit.
Oh, there's Sparkles.
Really?
Hey, Spark!
Well, you can. Hey, Sean?
Nice Wobby hoodie.
I know, it fucking rocks, brother.
You
Is
like
that
the label?
Sean's?
Yeah, I love it. And I love the tag on the back, of course.
Yeah, sweet.
Yeah,
Hey,
yeah.
Jeff, maybe, is there a chat can we put the link for Sean's apparel on the feed?
Oh, I don't have, the company doesn't work anymore. I went out of business a little while ago.
Oh, so you can't get them anymore?
Not really. I got a few, but not many of the airborne DPM ones. I guess you
Yeah.
could probably do another run sometime.
I need one size large, please.
Okay, I'll see
You
if
can
I
have
got
it.
one. Might have black one, but yeah.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Not for me, but for a friend of mine.
Wobby hoodies are cool.
Yeah, that's the
Like-
name. I couldn't remember the name of the. I was trying to explain to him what it was, and I'm just like, oh, it's a jacket with the SSF. It's the SSF pattern, right?
Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah, the old from the airborne jump smocks from the airborne regiment.
Yeah. Very nice.
How come that man with dangerous hat is so quiet tonight?
Is that me?
No, Saxon. Remember they were calling you the man with the dangerous hat or terrorist hat or something?
Oh, his field cap. That's a Beagle Bailey cap.
What was the cap? I'm not tracking this. What happened?
He's hat.
No, he's
guy.
wearing a boonie hat there, top detail. And they started
You're
calling
the
him the man with the terrorist hat.
hat. It was his field hat, right? Right, Saxon?
Oh my God, are you kidding me? It was like your chili hat? You're muted. You're muted. No, you're muted, Sax.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotcha now.
Ah, shit. All right.
Is this a confession?
No, there was a guy on Twitter who was watching like supposed fascists, and he had James Tops march into Ottawa, and I was walking with him, and there was a photo. So somebody had a photo and it was labeled like terrorist for me, and then two other labels for the other two, Pierre Polyev and then James Top. Fascist, and then another name for James Top. I can't remember what it was. And then another one in the Twitter
White
comment is like calling
supremacist.
me Hat Guy. So then I was just like the terrorist known as Hat Guy. And then he was calling me a white supremacist. Then he found my name and he had photos of my kids and shit like that. It's all gone now. He can't find it anymore. He's lucky, but or she. But either way, I don't discriminate when it comes to my kids. So those of you out there.
Yeah. And it really is, I think, mostly just kind of pukes. You know, we saw that with Antifa Newfoundland. It's kind of all online, and at least, you know, in Canada for now.
There's Antifa in Newfoundland.
Yeah, that was a thing while James Top was going through. But you know, I don't know that I don't know that they're like a real thing. They're just kind of a bunch of people online on Twitter and stuff that kind of dox and harass people, but say they're going to show up at events and then they never show up, with stuff like that.
Fucking people are weird, man.
That's a fact.
So, Sean, if you, I don't know what type of hoodies or whatever clothing you have, but if you want, you can get some done up and we can put them on our store as well. Because we,
I think
we're already
pretty
getting
broke right now. Pretty broke these days.
Yeah, so we can, because we just got these new hoodies done up. They're pretty good. They're really comfortable and they're selling well. So if you have one that was like a really good seller, right, we could easily put that up on our store for you and run that, because we're with the new web page that's hopefully coming by mid-January. It's going to have completely integrated Shopify store and everything, so it'll be a lot better than the one we have right now.
That's cool.
Yeah,
I don't have any in stock. I have to like get them made, and then the shipping delays and shit. It's a nightmare.
Well, we have a
black one now.
we have a really good guy who does them. He can handle everything, and we could put it through Shiloh and Joe, who run our merch store. So just let us know. We're open to that for sure.
Cool.
Who's doing your swag? Who's doing the sweaters and that?
It's a guy. Our guy's down. So one of our guys is Scott, who runs Black Bear Gear, and he put us in contact with a guy down in I think Cobourg, Ontario, and he's amazing. He does a lot of their gear. He does ours. He quickly did the Veterans on Wheels gear as well, and so we just put everything through that guy. He's a beauty. He's really a good dude.
Do you know the name? What's the name of the company, or what's the name of?
I can get it to you. I think I just know him by his first name, but yeah, he's I can get it to you for sure, Mike. I think his first name is Jamie, and I think it's I can't remember. But
see the guy that did the pins?
Awesome. Yeah, that guy.
Yeah, he really came through on the pins there. We did the torch pins for remembrance, and no time flat.
Yeah, and also we got the guys at Blackbird to do up a couple hundred of their Afghan memorial stickers for us. And so what we've done is I think we have like 200 of them, and then we're going to start putting them out, giving them out for free in our orders, as well as they did a really good write-up as to why they want to go with the memorial flower instead of the poppy. And so we actually have that. We put it in like a letter and then put it in an envelope and put it out with all of our orders. So
nice.
I saw they have we got the Afghan memorial poppy up on the website now too with their patches. We have a patch done for the torch pin, and also for somebody. I think I'm getting feedback from somebody there, guys.
I think it's Daryl.
Let's troubleshoot that. So, okay, yeah, maybe. But yeah, there's a couple of patches there on the website now. One for the torch pin and one for the Afghan poppy. I ordered them anyway. They look great. They came in the mail, and I think they look really good on my vest. So yeah, the shop's looking better already, man.
Yeah, and we'll get the one that really is good is the actual watch cap. It's like I think it's like 10 or 12 bucks, and it costs another 10 bucks to embroider it with V4F, but it's actually a really good waterproof cap. So I think a couple guys have purchased those. So we have two different types of hoodies two different types of toques, which is good. So we have a cheaper one and a more expensive. So, but also what we're going to do is, because Joe and Shiloh are doing sort of such a good job with all the merch, we're going to, a lot of the veteran stuff we just have at cost, but we're actually going to increase the price by 20% or 25%. And then we're going to start paying Shiloh and Joe. And I think Shiloh's son has helped out with some of the orders. So we're going to start just giving them a percentage of the sales to try and help them out for the work that they've done. So.
Yeah, for sure. We need full-time freedom fighters around here. So the only way we're going to be able to do that, or people are going to be able to do that, is if they have some kind of not only incentive but financial security, right? I mean, I think that's where I'm going right now. Anyways, I'm trying to be financially independent and got the pension locked in, and rental property, that kind of thing. But as long as I don't have to answer to anybody, I can kind of get out there and do my thing, right?
Yeah. Well, we'll have some news in the new year. Tom Quicken and I are going back out to meet with this business advisor, I think January 5th, 6th, 7th for a couple days. And we have lots of stuff. The guy's doing a ton of work behind the scenes for us in terms of corporate structure, bylaws, constitution, and all that jazz. So he's going to be a big help, because, we have ideas and stuff, but don't necessarily know how to turn it into a business. I don't have very much business acumen. So having a guy like that helping out is going to be good for the organization.
Yeah. Sounds like a managerial class kind of guy. So yeah, you do need that in an organization, 1,000%. Yeah, right on. But sorry, what was I going to ask here? But I was just, Mike, what did you get up to today? I had to mute your mic a little bit there, but if you got a set of earbuds or something, then probably better, because I'm getting feedback.
All right, just give me a second.
Okay, I'm just gonna put you on mute. Yeah, sorry about that, guys. So yeah, lots of exciting stuff, I guess, coming up for V4F in the new year, Drew.
Yeah, we got a lot of, when we started the organization, there was 5 of us: Daryl, Sammy, myself, Tom, and Eddie. We just thought we were going to get the couple hundred of us who were in Ottawa, and then we thought we were just going to be doing providing security at rallies. That was pretty much it. We just didn't have any idea that it would sort of blow up like it did, getting into the thousands of members, and then how to organize that, how to manage that, and then being asked to do welfare checks, having vets in need reach out to, we just never thought it was going to turn into that, right? So we did the organization's evolved, and it's going to continue to evolve. But it's like the guy, the sort of advisor guy we're speaking with, he's like, well, imagine, look what you're doing right now with just a bunch of volunteers, right? We've run a couple of very successful events. We've done a fair bit of helping behind the scenes. We've done, community outreach. We've done, the Air Cadet piece. Jeff knows the Xavier piece, and just trying to, be positive when we interact with the public. And that's just with volunteers. And so what this guy said, well, if we can get, funding, or however that's going to work, he's imagine if you have 20 paid guys, 50 paid guys, 80, 100, what you can accomplish with a team of that many people in terms of, sort of the communications information side of the house, the sort of intelligence accountability team, where we're going to hold public figures, the government, and everything to account. And then, you know, you have your sort of memberships, you get involved in the community. We have we have police reach out to us, want to join, correctional officers, first responders, right? So we want to, with a group like Police on Guard, they've helped us a fair bit behind the scenes, which is amazing. And, you know, they have a massive membership base, but they're focused more on the federal, you know, sort of scene is like, if we can branch out and have established local chapters, and then we can bring on all the Police on Guard people who are spread throughout the country as well, then we can build up these strong local chapters that can help with community building, getting involved locally, and that sort of thing. So that's where we see the organization going, opening it up. And then also we have probably about 20 or 30 foreign military vets who reached out to us. You know, Alice Cabana got us, I think, 25 or 30 of the Afghan interpreters who want to get involved. So there's all sorts of people. So if we can just come up with a way to sort of fan it all out to the different areas in the country, establish chapters, then and then build from there. Because this is what Steve Bannon says all the time, is you said local change will have national impact. So if we can affect positive local change across the country, collectively, that will have a national impact.
Yeah, I think he's right too. It really is about the local level politics, and you know, George Soros is going there, so that's kind of where we got to go too.
Yeah, 100%, and that's, you know, when we do the Canada United video in January, we're still working on, you know, scripts and points, and I send it off to people there, you know, to review and give me pointers, much like we did the Canada Divided video. It actually talks about, you know, you build those local communities who have, you know, pillar or champions in that community who become strong, very strong community leaders, and they get people involved in everything. And then what you do is that person then runs for, you know, the local mayor, or whatever, the municipal level, and they have a good sort of positive track record and a backing. So that's what we'll do. And then we tie in some of the other organizations that I've been working with. I know Saxon and Jake were in on one of our working group calls, and they sort of got a taste of some of the other stuff that I'm doing in terms of the Fob Farm concept, and Forward Operating Group, which is another organization, and it all sort of ties in and meshes together. And it's like my buddy Harley says, you know, you got to sort of build educated, intelligent, strong citizens again who aren't reliable on the government, right? So that's sort of the end goal of what we're doing with a bunch of these organizations.
Yeah, it sounds like almost like a mentorship program. And I get it. I can see the value in that because, you know, it's not like the kids are getting it in school these days. You know, there's a real problem, I think, with indoctrination in the schools and the universities in particular. Well, it's really starting to show in the schools with the grooming and whatnot. But anyway, since they're not getting it there, we're not going to have strong citizens very soon. And further down the road, we're not going to have strong leaders. So, you know, I really do think it takes like that kind of engagement and at that level to kind of stem the tide here. So, got to start playing the long game.
And I'm doing, like, we're working on an intelligence summary that we're going to put out, I think, early in the new year. And it's basically focusing on food security is going to be the biggest issue in 2023. So at my farm here, I put out to a couple of people I knew in the area. It's like, hey, let's get together in the third week of January and have let's have the sort of food security get together. It's already over like 30 people who are coming from my community to speak about it. Like, we have to find a new venue. We have to find a new venue because so many people, that's a concern in the community, right? So that's the sort of stuff that we have to do. And not all of us are leaders, right? But, you know, if we can get strong people in the local communities to sort of lead that charge, you're going to have other people step up. And I think that's really how we're going to counter the globalists, is by localism.
Yeah, makes sense to me. So yeah, speaking of New Year's, what anybody got plans for the holidays? Nothing? Everybody taking it easy? I don't know. I thought I might try to do something just for New Year's.
It's
Everything
just a
else
bunch
seems
of people
quiet.
who are dooming. So we're just like, oh, another year. Like, oh, that's great. Like,
I've
I don't
kind
know.
of
I have a
taken.
hard time. I don't know. I'm just like the most depressing person. I have a hard time trying to give a shit about anything.
I thought I might go people watching or something, you know.
Whereabouts
No,
are you,
there's-
Jeff?
What?
He's in New
Whereabouts are you?
Brunswick.
I might make a run out here in the next week or two. Out that way. I want to
yeah?
go see my daughter in Rimouski.
Okay, Rimouski,
So that's-
where's that?
I think that's 5 hours from Fredericton.
Okay, so it's New Brunswick.
It's about an
or-
hour on the other side of the Quebec border.
Oh, okay, right on. Yeah, that's not my way. I'm like Atlantic, like seriously Atlantic.
Oh, you're
Cape
Cape Breton.
Yeah, Cape Breton Island. So,
yeah.
east tip
Yeah,
of
yeah.
Nova Scotia.
Well, that's only another 6 hours from Fredericton.
Yeah, only. Scott and I did that on the motorcycle on the way to Rolling Thunder. Thanks, Neil, for doing that right when you did. If you had waited 2 weeks, it might have been another matter. But we ended up getting snowed off the road in Fredericton on the motorcycles on the way to Rolling Thunder. So that was quite the adventure. But anyway, we powered through. Rented a car, went the rest of the way, stored the bikes. So. I guess it was successful. I mean, I got out of jail, so worth it. Totally worth it.
They got you with the facial recognition drone.
Yeah, something. I don't know. I think it was probably the same cops that. Well, I know the cops that made me. They were the same cops that arrested me. I remember walking past them while I was rounding the corner, and I saw the female sitting in the passenger side looking right at me. we locked eyes for like 2 seconds, and I was like, I turned to the girlfriend and it's like, yeah, I'm pretty sure I just got made. And anyway, sure enough, they came and got me a couple of blocks later with 3 squad cars and 8 cops.
Why?
Because I was in Ottawa.
Oh, fuck.
I wasn't allowed to be after the convoy. So. And I'm still not now. Can't visit my son until I get it all cleared up. So.
That's fucked.
Yeah, I mean, that's why it's a Canadian Commie Christmas.
Yeah.
Well, really, I mean, it's unprecedented, right?
Fuck. Yeah.
True story.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they had to give permission to Santa Claus to come to Canada, didn't they? To permit him in our airspace.
Yeah, you need
Did you not
to be
see that
vaccinated.
commercial?
We had to authorize them this year. Is it all the way to? I mean, I know they wouldn't let us on Parliament Hill for Canada Day, but this is Santa we're talking about.
Justin had to give Omar the okay, and then he had to go out and send the package or whatever the fuck he was doing. A bunch of useless fucking people trying to look important.
Here we
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
Like how much money was wasted on the creation of this commercial?
Oh my
Yeah.
God. Probably
Not
like
enough.
$100,000, Sean. Like
We need
just
more money.
Yeah.
on
oh,
Maybe more.
Well, money is
But
no
it
it's so
object.
just gives us
embarrassing.
something to make fun of. That's all. So it was
It
good.
is so embarrassing.
I'm glad
It
they
is.
wasted
I've
their
seen it.
money.
I saw it on Twitter. Watch the whole
You know,
thing.
there was a background conversation when they were planning the commercial, and they're like, "Who looks most like an elf?" And they're like, "Omar," and they fucking picked Omar. That's why they did it, because Omar
Yeah.
looks like a fucking elf.
Wow.
no,
Diversity.
Out of that whole commercial, the thing that bothered me the most was the way she pushed the buttons on the phone. Like, fuck, that was it was that was embarrassing. And,
Well-
but wait do you guys see the profile we're doing on her? No one knows where she came from,
Who's
right?
this?
Teresa Tam.
Oh, yeah, she's Hong Kongese. She's shady in my view. I'm pretty sure she's.
It's really a dude.
Yeah, she's natal male, right? She's a natal male. Look at the hands. Adam's
Well,
apple
she
too. I'm
went
pretty
to
sure.
school and she's from Hong Kong, or it went to school in Edmonton, and it had a fucking
Fiji.
student then, and she's, I think a British citizen. She's not a Canadian.
Well,
Yeah.
it could be, yeah, Hong Kongese, but still, like there was all that stuff where she's got the conflict of interest with the position on the board of the WHO while she's, running the pandemic response for Canada. So it's like, well, who's your daddy in this situation? And at the same time, we're all toeing the line with China in the pandemic response. And yeah, I just find it all to be very suspicious.
You mean biological nuclear weapon attack?
Well, I'll tell you what.
This is a biological agent attack on the world. That's how I see it.
Her husband works for Pfizer.
Does he?
Yeah,
I think
Tam's
I've heard
husband.
that too.
Yeah, that was a doctor told me that one.
So we're gonna start
doing like an inquiry on like the whole use of the Pfizer vaccine because it's causing damage.
Yes, isn't that what happened? That's what DeSantis is doing, right, down in Florida.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, that's right. He is. Yeah, he's got the grand jury. He's getting the grand jury set up. Yeah. So this is the thing about Theresa Tam. I mean, even when you look at her Wikipedia page, so she's 65, British Hong Kong. But yeah, I'm not going to go through the whole thing now, but I read it before, and it just seems to me that it's really sparse on information and what her background is. But British Hong Kong. But anyway, shady. I think she's shady.
Yeah,
I'm surprised it just doesn't say expert. Like everything else is redacted, and then the only thing that's left says expert.
Yeah. You should. You should totally go read that plan. By the way, if you don't believe Trudeau that it wasn't a good plan and wasn't a plan at all, then you should totally read that. Remember that? And then they pulled up the plan, and it was completely blacked out.
Yeah, transparency at its best.
Yeah.
We're gonna build a profile on Tam. We have like I think, like 50 names in the hopper. We got all the people in anti-hate. We got all the whole bunch of different bureaucrats who are going to be, and it's all just open source stuff. It's like who these people are. This is what their background. These are who they're linked to, and the intelligence assessment on that, and that's it, right? And there's lots of stuff going on, lots of bad stuff from bad people. So all we're going to do is just build the picture for people.
Yeah. Count me in. I mean, I'm trying to do it, on every live stream, basically. Just connect the dots and say like, well, I did the video on the politics of genocide, and I make reference to it all the time when I'm saying, we're at stage 8 to stage 9 right now. There's only 10 stages. And in stage 8, you can see there's the theft of property, and we can see that with Bill C-21. Trial murders, we saw that with Globalist News is just ISIS when they incited somebody to ram a car into protesters in Winnipeg, freedom protesters in Winnipeg, killed one, I think injured 2 more or 3 more. So there's your trial murder, and then the next one there at stage 8 is trial massacres. So that's kind of right about where we are right now, and they're coming for the guns at the same time. So yeah. So when you kind of put it together like that, I don't even know that the folks that are the actors on the TV are consciously aware of what the intent is here of the people, the shady, shadowy figures that are actually the puppet masters here in this Kabuki theater that we call Canada. But the people behind the scenes, I think they understand exactly what they're doing. And it's sowing chaos is what it is.
Yeah. So just some questions from the chat. So there's our what do you guys call him? Chief Cook, James Bullock, who was at Camp Eagle. He goes, are going to be participating during the Rage Cast on the 15th. I'm not too sure what's happening on the 15th. I know a bunch of us were on the Ungovernable. And then I don't know what's happening on the 15th.
I got a heads up on that, so I put it on my calendar anyway. I don't have a link for it or anything yet, but I plan to be there.
Okay. Is that I don't even. I guess I didn't make the list. What the hell?
I want to say that it's Derek. Is it Derek that's doing it, and Mackenzie's going to be there. But I mean, I just got the heads up on it, but I think it's sort of a recurring event that they do, and the next available opportunity is on the 15th. That's all.
Yeah, you know what?
Where's that going to be?
It's online, like it's a stream. Yeah, so it's something like what we're doing now. So it'd be good to expand the network, build those relationships, that kind of thing, and because I think a lot of those guys are out this way too on the East Coast. So
they're well. You know what? I just want to say screw you to Derek, Ferry, and those guys. You know why? But not even because of that. You know why? Is because I didn't really watch too many of the podcasts before, but now I watch them and listen to them, like Rants Cast and Plaid Army. There's so many. There's like 6 different ones, and now it's taken up all my time. I'm supposed to be like writing and stuff, and then I'm in there chatting away, and fuck it, they're great. They're really they're entertaining to say the least. So it's just eating up a bunch more of my time. But yeah, they're good to listen to, and I think like we have our organization, and not everyone in our organization likes that stuff, or if we share this, which is fine, right? It doesn't matter, but we're trying to promote by veterans for veterans, and if we have vets running podcast stuff, we're gonna promote them. Like it's apolitical, and we're gonna do that. And you have people who in our organization who triple hat or quadruple hat. We got guys like Police on Guard, Action for Canada, V4F. So it's if you don't like the stuff that they have, you don't like their streams, you don't like then don't listen to it, right? It's very simple. Me personally, I hate country music. You know what? I don't listen to country music.
Yeah, no, neither do I. It's like fingernails on a chalkboard to me. But absolutely.
Hey, relax.
Man, my first job, I was 15. I started off like washing windows and doing garbages at Tim Hortons, and then I started on Cash. And oh my God, the song that was like the hit on the country station at the time it just made me want to eat a shotgun. It was like, that's my house and that's my car.
But with that being said, that guy Greg Arcade, was some of his songs they did for Ungovernable were actually pretty good.
Oh yeah, right on.
I'll give him that. And I'll throw one other thing out there. Here Bill can take my spot. And look at that. We thought it was Bill, but it's really Chris Deering.
Well done.
So just one point. Yeah,
the mic's muted over there, guys. You're muted, Bill.
That's okay. We'll leave him like that.
No. No, he's trying to figure it out.
Okay. Somebody help him with the mic. Oh,
there's V. Where are the nuts? They have.
We can't hear you guys.
Look in the bottom left of the screen. There's a little icon that's.
You unmute him, Jeff?
Okay. Well, he's got a nice.
Look at his.
Oh, nice. Look at that thing. Oh, he's even wearing pants. Christmas pants alone. That's a whole other thing, but pants at all.
So awesome. Here,
panties on there.
I'll tell you guys one. So we're just quickly. A couple more V4F things. Is next year we're involved with the National Citizens Inquiry, so we're working with TBOF on that. So we're going to be a player there. We're also doing some stuff and we're supporting from behind the scenes the Christine Anderson Canadian Tour, which will be Calgary, Toronto, Montreal from the 18th to 25th of February. So there's those 2 things. But on top of that is I got pulled into a group with a bunch of other veteran groups. And there is a lot of concern from various groups about the MAID being offered to vets. I think we're up to 7 vets now with 4 or 5 different case managers. That's sort of being spearheaded by Mark Mankey. And we're actually getting together. There's a bunch of veteran groups, and we're going to be going in March to Ottawa. Everyone's putting everything aside, any differences or whatever, and veterans as that group are going to go to Ottawa. We're going to have some speakers, and we're going to push back against MAID being offered to veterans. It's going to be in March before they expand the the MAID to people with just mental health issues, which I think is on the 31st of March. So that's going to be coming down the pipeline as well. So we did our initial planning group for that, and it's going to be big. Lots of different groups, different biker organizations that are made up of vets, and we're going to get everyone involved in that. So there's a couple big things coming up on the horizon for V4F.
Count me in.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
I
it's
saw.
going to be.
I was just going to look because I took a screen grab the last time I logged into MyVac, and there was a statement on there like flat out denying that it ever happened, or pretty damn close anyway. So I'm just trying to dig that up, but I don't know what Vac's been saying on the record out there, but holy smokes.
No, when you have 4 or 5 different case managers and 7 vets coming forward, to me that's not just a one-off. That's SOP. If I was a betting man.
And at first, I think they came out saying like we're going to do everything we can to make this right, and we're looking into it and all this stuff, and then they kind of did a 180 there, and he came in and he said it never happened. But hang on. Check it out.
I believe there's an RCMP investigation into it, actually.
Yeah, there ought to be.
Spearheaded by Blake Richards' office because it's illegal to consult on suicide.
There, I just logged in. It says, as we continue to investigate all allegations related to medical assistance in dying being inappropriately discussed with veterans, we ask that anyone who may have experienced a similar situation to please report it by calling us at 1-866-522-2122. You can also report the situation to the Veterans Ombudsman. If you're struggling, please contact our assistance service at 1-800-268-7708 so we can get you the support you need. Okay. Well, that's not as bad as I remember. I'm just black-pilled today, I think.
Yeah, and like I said, I think Blake Richards' office is the RCMP have now opened an investigation on that. You can contact Blake Richards' office.
That's good.
He's the Shadow Minister for Veterans Affairs, and they're pretty open to hearing veterans' needs.
We had
write that down because we're going to release an email in a couple of days, so I want to put that in there.
Yeah, if you talk to their office, the guy that I spoke to there in the Ottawa office, not the constituency office, but the Blake Richards Ottawa office. I think his name's Khalil. He's on top of it. So if you get a hold of him, he's pretty open and talking about what they know. And
right on.
Well, I think I had another guy come and speak to me at an event. He said he was given through his VAC account. He was asked to do a survey on MAID, and I didn't. It seemed I was like, man, that's a big claim. You have to have some proof or whatever. I gave him my card. He never got back to me. So I don't know. I wouldn't surprise me if they did that, but you would think there would be more vets step forward if they actually got a survey about MAID.
Yeah, Drew, I'm going through this. I'm going through this stuff with VAC right now, and I'm pretty well new to the system, but there's nothing that's come up on my end about them mentioning MAID. And trust me, I got enough maladies. They'd want to MAID me.
Yeah. Yeah, but and that's the thing is my case manager for VAC is amazing. Like she's awesome. So I think everyone's going to have a different sort of opinion on their interactions with VAC. So mine so far have been nothing but positive. So we can't sort of tar and feather the entire all the case managers about
Agreed.
that.
But we should fire them all and rehire.
Well, there's definitely a need for a change in management.
Yeah.
Yeah. The whole. They're trying to clean up their act now because they're under the spotlight now, right? The VAC, and they're not looking very good, and they haven't for the last 20, 30 years, right?
Right.
Yeah, and I think what Sean said is going to be important. If they can do an independent investigation, that'll be huge. But if more comes out, and they do some digging, I think this might be big enough to potentially bring the government down if it, grows and it's, you have 200 vets or 300 vets, or it was SOP. I think that could be big enough to bring the government down, in my opinion.
Yeah, there it is there. Cabinet Minister now says Veterans Affairs never offered aid after testifying they did.
So they're lying again.
Yeah.
That's why it's important, like, when you look at political advocacy, with a well-formulated conversation, get a hold of the shadow minister, address your concerns at that level. Because the more they hear, and the more, not so much that they hear complaints, but the more they hear an articulated conversation around this, the better off we are.
Yeah, that's good advice, man. I've been reaching out to some shadow ministers myself and just sending them some thoughts on different issues. And a couple of them got back to me, and balls are rolling, and they're interested to hear more, that kind of thing. So I do think that's a very kind of promising tactic. And I know, like, what's her name there? Raquel Doncho. She's switched on. She's I reached out to her office, and they were pretty much enthusiastic to hear from Canadians. And I'm not like, any kind of a constituent or anything. She's out west and I'm out here, but she was working on a particular issue. I think it was military related. And of course I had something to say about that. So I sent it in there. They were all over it anyway. So they're motivated.
Well, it's just they don't want to get their hands dirty on this one.
Well,
I don't know,
guys. Just remember the Hadamar INSOM that we put out. That had the biggest reach or impressions or whatever it is that we've ever done, and that's ties into exactly what Hitler was doing prior to the Holocaust. Was they were experimenting and killing veterans who were shocked from World War I. And those are the first people they started to kill. So it's definitely, I know it's a bit long, 4 pages, but it's definitely worth the read. Tom Quiggin worked on that, and it's amazing, and it's very telling. And I'd never even heard of Hadamar before I read the INSOM. So it's a very powerful piece of info that we put out.
Sorry, I have to add, love the bow, Jill. Looks nice.
Reindeers.
Very nice.
What do you know when that INSOM came out? Which date was that? You don't know offhand, do you?
I want to say 28th November. Let me check. So many people, so yeah, 28th November. Yeah, and that's another thing with the new webpage. You'll be able to sign up and get the daily INSOMs mailed to you in PDF format instead of like little shitty pictures online. And we're gonna have more and more and more of those coming out as we build these profiles. Like, wait do you guys see Barbara Perry? She's this anti-hate. She gets paid $250,000 a year to go around and call everyone a white supremacist and blah blah blah. You should see her, man. We got 80 pages on that lady, and she's I don't even want to get into it, but
she ruins lives for a living.
Yep,
that's what she does.
Yep, yeah, exactly. So we got lots of stuff coming in the new year. Because when you're doing battle planning, what you want to do is you want to get inside the enemy commander's head to think about what he's going to do against your forces, so that you can counter that. And so what we want to do is like paint the picture of who these people are and 5th gen or information warfare, what's happening to you, so people can then learn how to counter that from a position of strength, instead of just blindly sailing by and just having them wreak havoc on our population, right? So
here, put it in this.
Yeah, 1000%.
There he is. Chris, speak to us, brother.
I'm just listening there now. I'm high as the kite now, so I'm just listening.
Score.
Hero of the Battle of Ottawa. How you doing, Chris?
Not too bad, you.
Not bad, not bad. Where are you guys hanging out at? You're having a pretty awesome family Christmas from the looks of your Facebook there.
Yeah, it was pretty fun. Yeah, Bill was good company. Yeah, until he's gone.
Quiet Christmas at home with no bullshit.
My hair's all fucked.
Make up your mind. You can't have Billy there and no bullshit. That just doesn't go together.
This is true.
It's okay, we can handle his bullshit.
Yeah, there's unanimous consent on that.
It's another person in the house to help with the kids, so I'll take it.
It's a well-refined bullshit too.
Yeah. Oh, Bill's done something there.
I said it's just a well-refined bullshit.
Right.
Oh, by the way, Jeff, I stole your hat.
You stole my hat. What hat?
I stole your hat. I liked it so much.
This
I had Mike. Yeah, I had Mike make me one because I got the same Legion hat you do, and I crossed out the last.
Yeah.
But I went to Mike and I said, "Look, can you make one that says like cross out the last and it says we forgot?"
Yeah.
He goes, "Yeah, I could do that." And on the back, it's got the Legion, the Legion and the poppy thing on the back tab, but underneath it's stitched in. It says betrayers. So
yeah, I'm all about going after those guys.
Yeah, so I'm just running with that, Jeff, if you don't mind.
No, not at all. Make it a trend, guys. make a trend. But yeah, I'm all about shaming those guys. It's like I was just getting out of the military when they came in with the vaccine mandate and denied me service. Like on the month, I got punted on psycho pension and stumbled down there, after drinking home alone, looking for some social support. They're like, yeah, no, get out. So anyway, I let them have it kind of on the spot and left, peaceably enough. And, I was back there. I had to go up there and clean the freaking monument for them for Remembrance Day, for crying out loud. I had to get my hedge trimmers up there just to trim the hedges around the monument and clean all the grass out of the cracks. And it was a mess. So I did all that, and then I went up to the monument for Remembrance Day, the cenotaph, and they just did the whole parade like indoors. It was a perfectly nice day out. Not that it's supposed to be nice on Remembrance Day. So
I know what you're saying there.
Like, and we're supposed to be, we're the guys who put our lives on the line in other countries to advocate for the human rights of other people. And to say that the Legion, after trampling on the human rights of like me and tons of other people, and what they did to James Topp, to have the gall to say that they represent us at this point is just like, who the hell are you? So I'm all about kind of going after those guys because they should know better. I mean, we're veterans; we're held to a higher standard. And
all I know was when I was in the Legion in the '80s, if some guy showed up wearing a thong, he wouldn't have been in the Legion very long.
Oh my God! They jumped the shark with the drag queen story time. Yeah, unbelievable. Oh my God! And the U.S. has to report on it. We're not going to do it, but. You can see that. Just in case anybody's interested, there is that's the INSOM that Drew was just talking about. It's up on the Facebook page. I tried to link it in the chat there, but it doesn't seem to want to give me the link. But
hey, why am I shaking? Oh, yeah. What's happening to me?
That one's from today. There's the one is from the Hadamars 28th of December or November.
Oh, what the heck? I scrolled all the way down and then I must have jumped back up somehow here. Yeah, I did. Okay. Screw that. I'm not scrolling down again. I had it up there.
Yeah. That was a good comment by Scott Thompson. Yeah. Dominion Command. Yeah, 100%. They're on the list. Yeah. So they're the group that's in charge of the legions. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I don't know much about them. All civvies, huh? Well,
or that fucking army guy that's got a story like no tomorrow. There's a Mike Burgess he was a service officer in fucking Alberta for a long time, and that guy's got every tall tale in the book. but he's got a cool accent, so Legion Command loves him.
Does he drink Dos Equis?
I don't know. Probably not.
No.
He's not that interesting.
No.
But I mean, it's guys like that, right? It's the bullshitters that, find a way, and then they get in there and the Legion just eats up their bullshit. And then they fucking think that guy's some sort of awesome guy. And then they immediately just shut the door on anyone that came in from Afghanistan, because there's no way they want to be lesser than this person, right? Because they don't have a war story. They only ever did like Legion sports events.
I see that.
Fuck they do.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%.
And they're just threatened by their little empire, right? Because you got to think like the Legion in the 80s and 90s, early 2000s, all those fucking weirdos that never joined the army. They're the kind of guys that buy a PAL to get an AR-15 so that they can pretend they're an army guy, right?
Yeah.
But like they go to the Legion and then they feel like they're in the military because they're doing some stuff that's remotely similar, and then they have this little empire and they have all this money that they can control, and it just gets wasted. Well, you got like think about this. If the Poppy run, so let's go for the duration of Afghanistan. Let's just go from 2001 to 2014, so 13 years. The average Canadian, if they put $2 a year into this fund at like 33 million people, so 66 million a year, where's all this fucking money? Where's all this money to help veterans? Where's the program?
I'll tell you where it is.
Where did it go?
It's like I was saying. I went up to the cenotaph here at the Legion, right around the corner from my house. Like that was my plan when I was retiring. I was just gonna be a good veteran and get involved in the community and kind of turn things around with the Legion or whatever. But that's not going to happen now. And I had to walk past that cenotaph with the grass growing up between the cracks and the hedges all overgrown, like they hadn't trimmed them all season. And I when I walked past on the weekend there, and they must have had like 12 people on the roof, installing a new roof on their little drinking club there, and they put all new windows and doors, and there's new bar, new bathrooms, everything's been like just gutted and refurbished, and that cenotaph still sitting out there, all uneven and starting to separate, and the different like the monoliths, there's kind of like a couple of monoliths that are supposed to be together, and they're kind of shifting on the ground and everything now, and it's just terrible. It's dilapidated. But they got brand new bathrooms in their little drinking club, so that's where the money goes.
I've been doing some research on the Legion and talking to some buddies who are involved there, because not all of them are bad, right? Again, we can't just tar and feather everyone, because there is good Legions out there. We have some of our members who are double-hatted and they're Legionnaires and stuff. So, but what I talked to my buddy who is heavily involved with Branch 66 in Toronto, and on their Poppy run, they dealt with, I think they made $100,000 or $120,000 in Toronto. And so what I found out is that money actually is, they get to decide where that money goes locally to help vets and different organizations and stuff, et cetera. It doesn't go up to Dominion Command. What I did find out from him is like your $62 membership that you pay for the year, I think each Legion gets like $20 out of that, and the rest goes to Dominion Command. So they're, at the height of, their Legion, I think he said they were at 1,300 or 1,400 members, and now they're at 150. That's it. So they get $20 for that. And the way they make their money to survive is they rent it out for like the hall. They rent it out for weddings and that sort of thing. But they're all volunteers as well. I think the only salaried positions are at the provincial command and at Dominion Command for that. So, but it's like Alex, one of our
officers in Alberta are under salaried positions. The senior service officer in Southern Alberta, guarantee he is under salaried position.
Yeah,
so that's like
Scott's saying it's salaries too.
And that's the problem. Like if you get a service officer like that guy Mike Burgess, it's like he picks and chooses which veterans to help. He'll help some, but he won't help the others, and that's like fucking bullshit.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't need to prove to you fuck all. If I need the benefits and I'm entitled to it, I'm entitled to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really should just be a matter of kind of checking the boxes on the list, and you meet the criteria. So yeah, access.
It's so antiquated, right? Though. It's such an antiquated place. Like,
yeah.
It's where all the weirdo Canadians went and hung out for 20, 30 years. So of course it's going to be a weirdo place.
But it's also like, when I got out last year, they're like, oh, you got a free membership to the Legion and Legion magazine or whatever. I was like, I don't even want it. Right. Like, I just don't want to go to a dive bar and hang out with a bunch of guys who I don't, have any sort of connection with. And it's like one of our V4F members, Alexander Prudhomme out in Quebec, he said the new Legion is like bonfires and bike leather, right? There's all sorts of motorcycle groups where guys and gals get together and go for rides and that sort of thing. It's just, it's no appeal for me to get to go to the local Legion and sit there and get hammered at like some dive bar. It's just not appealing.
Yeah. And like with people that are like never served in the middle. I almost joined.
Yeah. That was what I said when they were refusing me service. I was like, "Where'd you serve?" To the bartender. He's like, "Me? Oh, I never served." I was like, "Look at the bar fly there." I was like, "Where'd you serve? Where'd this guy serve?" He says, "Oh, yeah, he never served." And I was like, "Oh, this is some scam you draft dodging boomers got going on around here." So I had a little fun with the boys, and like I said, I left. Easily enough in my own time, but no, I mean, I think they crossed the line. Me personally, it was a human rights abuse, and they've been doubling down, even with the drag queen story hour and all that stuff. So, sometimes you gotta let the system fail.
Bikers aren't allowed to use the Legion anymore. Like even veteran bike clubs, they can't use the Legion to be as a clubhouse or like for a meeting room or anything like that. You can't even be in the Legion with a cut on.
Unreal.
Like all those UN NATO vets, any of them. But if you're a drag queen, you can read stories to kids at the Legion.
That was like the final straw, right? Because they take James Top, they don't allow him in. If you read the statements they made about him, untrue. The guy's the nicest guy, ultra intelligent, good person, complete, service guy, did 5 combat tours. And I spent a lot of time working with him and Christian, et cetera, because V4F obviously supported Canada marches. And he's just not a bad guy. And for them to turn around and to tar and feather him like that, and then turn around and then host a drag queen show, that was it. I was so angry about that. It was just brutal.
Well, and it's not just that he's, not just a bad guy. I mean, he's a freaking Canadian hero, for crying out loud,
Yeah.
And, like an immaculate service record, like you said. He's got the 2 campaign stars and is it 5 conflict tours? I think I've said 4 previously, so I might be wrong about that. But yeah, unstoppable. Like first guy to march across the whole country of Canada. And look at what they do to him. He's like a model veteran, and they wasted no time in just defaming him in like the worst possible terms they could come up with.
Yeah.
So
that's what narcissists do. They gaslight you.
Yeah, they do.
The Legion's basically a bunch of fucking narcissists.
Well, yeah, they are sociopaths, in fact.
Hey Jeff, put up Mohammed's comment. Look at that.
Yeah. And any organization that can say that we didn't say that, to double down and say we didn't offer MAID, we didn't do this.
So that James was a Medic Pocket veteran, right?
Yeah, no, I was talking about the other one. The one he has up from there goes, we have a local branch, president VP. They've drank for free for the last 10 years. He said there's no tracking of the Poppy Fund. Yeah, I guess it's cash, right? So who knows what happens? Like, no one knows.
Yeah, it just gets filtered into the executive pockets, man. That's what happens to it. It's like 100%.
It'll all depend on the branch.
Scam in history. Yeah. None of that money that people put in the Poppy box goes to help people. When people steal the money out of the Poppy box, they're ostracized as stealing from veterans. But the reality is the Legion's stealing that money from us right then and there.
Yeah, I guess
It's
like
like-
Mike said, it's got to be branch dependent. Because my buddy runs 6'6". He knows. They definitely track that, and he does a good job with that. He's heavily involved, but who knows, right? I think there's 1,300 branches across the country, and on top of that, I found out when we were doing some digging, is that if a branch shuts down, Dominion Command gets everything. They get all the money. They get the money from the sale of the building, whatever it is. It all goes right to Dominion Command. So it doesn't. All the people have been building it up and whatever, and all the veterans or whoever's part of it, they don't get to see a cent of that money. It all goes up to Dominion Command.
And then where does it go from there?
Yeah, I'm not too sure.
Into people's pockets. Come on.
Yeah, and you know what?
Someone found out that there's a scam here, and then they capitalized on it until the war in Afghanistan came, and then they were like, "Oh my God, we got to keep these guys out of here because if they find out, we're fucked."
Well, it's interesting because we put out, right now the government of Canada wants to medicate, isolate, and eradicate vets. We want to counter with rehabilitate, integrate, and elevate. And you got all these like negative Nancy vets who just hate our organization, but just read everything that we put out. And the guy's like, "How are you going to do this? You've got no funding. You're not going to do this, you guys. It's all rhetoric. You blah blah blah." And it's like, man, sitting around bonfires, making phone calls. We had vets reach out to us directly who were in need after we made that post. And I've talked to a guy who was just like, "Man, I was on the brink and seeing that, blah, blah, blah." Phone call doesn't cost anything, right? So getting in, talking to people, meeting, going for coffees. Mike can probably speak about this the most because Mike travels across the country. And Mike, you get involved with all sorts of different groups and stuff like that. Like, to me, when you can get in and find, fellow vets, sit down, have a chat, that's helping them. That's rehabilitating them. Correct me if I'm wrong, Mike.
Yep. Well, just to say, like, buddy reached out from BC there. The veteran passed away. His son there was kind of different circumstances. Buddy was his son was living with him. He passed away. They're going to lose all that. Then his son's homeless. And so reached out and from Alberta, the Veterans Association Food Bank's going to help him out.
Yeah, those guys do a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
those guys do way more than the Legion ever did.
And I see I'm in the Veterans on Wheels Facebook group anyway, and those guys have been pretty active too. So seems like everybody's kind of just
getting out there.
Absolutely, and I think everybody. That's the thing is like. I don't know if everybody's going to respond very well to like a rigid command structure at this point in their lives. And they seem to be just sort of still very motivated, passionate people, but they're going to find their own niche and everybody's going to get active in their own way. But everybody's motivated, like the veterans, I think, are
determined,
starting to rally. Yep.
Yeah. And you can see that not just in Canada, right? That Global Veterans Coalition, which is another initiative that we're working on. We're working with the Americans, two big groups in the United States, a group over in the UK, the Dutch veterans, the Aussies, the Kiwis. They're all it's all the same. It's all the same, and they think that if it was just us, I'd be like, okay, well maybe it's just Canada. No, man, the American veterans are up and running, and all these different groups are getting organized and pushing back, and it's like that across the board.
I've been saying, like, I can't wait to see what the American equivalent of the Dutch farmers revolt or the Canadian truckers convoy is going to be, because I think they're overdue. Everybody's kind of rising up. They did do the trucker thing in DC a little bit, but I don't think DC lends itself to a convoy very well. And the fact of the matter is, the politicians actually came out and talked to them. So,
So
there was that.
Funny how that works, right? If you talk to the people, then they go home happy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. Do your job.
Justin Trudeau, though, he just hid in fucking some hotel in Gatineau with the JTF2 protecting him, probably like, you are a fucking idiot. Can you imagine what those operators had, what going through their minds?
Oh my gosh.
Get a set of ROE to engage Canadians? Like, fuck me.
Let me tell you just a funny story. So I'm from a specialist unit, definitely not special forces, but we get trained by them. As we have those guys, a couple guys posted to our unit as ERE, and they do all the training and shooting packages and that sort of thing. And I hope I don't get in trouble for saying this, but he's probably not watching. But anyways, there was a time when Trudeau went down to Mali, right? And the guys at the Hill were his security detail. And in their squad room or whatever it's called, ready room, I can't remember. He said they have a blown up picture, like not floor to ceiling, but a big one of Trudeau in Mali with his in between like two operators with, fucking big dips in and fucking Velcro and all geared up. And he had his hands on their shoulder and he had the biggest smile on his face. And the two soft guys just had this like fucking big, they were just like, what the fuck?
They wanted to do it.
Yeah, they wanted it. And that's their thing. They had like this, he Justin's so happy in the middle. And then there's the two operators beside him just with these fucking shitty looks on their face. Like, who the fuck? And that's in their squad room. It's a picture. I told him, I said, man, you have to send that to me. He's like, no. He goes, I will. When we see you again, I'll show you the picture of it, but it cannot leave the room.
Who do you got to piss off at the Hill to get that detail?
Oh God, yeah.
That's like punishment for those guys.
It makes me wonder what's going through their heads. Why aren't they fucking doing anything?
Well,
right? They see everything in the back door. I mean, they can't just. They're the Praetorian Guard, so to speak. That's how Caesar got taken out. Just saying.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
So what you're saying is there's hope. Is that what you're saying, Sean?
Maybe. I'm not saying anything. I'm just a random stone guy.
Well, I'm saying there's hope.
Things.
Then that's what I see in that picture.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. I don't. We can't keep going on this trajectory like this. It's either got to be he's going to be voted out, or. But then again, I won't get too much into politics.
The thing is that everyone seems to have forgotten is that he's imported 600,000 votes every year since 2015. Canada's population since 2015 has increased dramatically. We went from 33 million people to almost 40 million people. And those votes are all put into small voting areas that create new electoral ridings. And these new grounds for citizenship, you can vote after 3 years. That's why Trudeau's calling a spring election. Because now, at that point, there are more of those migrants, not immigrants anymore, migrants that are here that can vote, that are going to vote him. He's going to win a majority. And I know that everyone here is like, nope, not a chance. But that's what this immigration policy is allowed.
The only thing that's slowing that down, though, is they have to redraw the electoral districts. I understand the strategy.
Well, they did, but that's how they got a liberal seat in Alberta.
Yeah, but what they do is they flood people into the cities, right? They're flooding everybody into the cities, and they'll create new electoral districts there, and the cities are always red.
Yeah.
But the thing is that Elections Canada only updates the electoral districts every few years. I can't remember off the top of my head. So that's kind of the only thing that's holding that back right now. They went back already, and I think they just did it last year. So we might have a little bit of time there. So the only thing delaying it is
a liberal seat in Alberta.
Yeah. I know.
And they're both in areas that are seeded by migrants. And I mean, like,
but that just happened. So that was the last time they did.
That they're giving these people their houses.
It's a long game.
Houses, they're just giving them to people.
I couldn't believe it. People don't believe that,
but it's fucking true.
Yeah.
And then
I saw it in Ottawa. It was incredible. I mean, when I moved there in 2014, it said, "Welcome to Ottawa, population 900,000." And when I left in when did I get out? 2021. It said population 1 million. So just in that amount of time, and just it was like I hunkered down for a winter, and then I came out in the spring, and there was a subdivision with something like 10,000 homes in it, just to the south of my neighborhood. It was incredible, the amount of construction that was going on, residential properties and stuff like that. And there's still not enough. Like the homelessness has never been so bad, you know. And that's what's really sickening to me about it is, you know, the people that are kind of just barely hanging on the lower rungs there. They're not doing so good right now. Like they're the ones that are really bearing the brunt of this. They're losing their homes. They're losing their shirts.
And the other issue is and business wise. So now all these migrants have come here with trades, and they're able to outbid all the old Canadian businesses. So all these construction businesses in Calgary that have been there for so long are now getting they're losing business, and they're going under because these migrants are able to outbid them. Because they don't have to, because for some reason they don't have to adhere to the same wage, labor, and other laws that every other Canadian has to. And that's the problem, because that's going to continue. So you're going to see this rise of migrants and their businesses rising. And then the old stock Canadians, the multi-generational Canadians, their businesses are going to fall. Which now changes the economic balance, not just the voting balance, but the economic balance. So like I beg to argue that in Canada right now, you have no opportunity to outvote Trudeau at all. You can't.
Yeah,
he's changed the electoral system so much.
No, and it's not there yet.
It's impossible to fight against it.
They haven't redrawn the maps yet, though. We still have like the same number of districts and everything. So that's what it's all hinging on.
There's still
right
like
now, so.
How many more votes in those areas, man? And they're not going to vote for anyone else.
But it's the ridings, right?
Gave them a car and gave them a credit card that gets repaid every month.
It's the number of ridings. It always goes by number of ridings, not by you know.
Well, the number of votes in the riding, right?
Well, they're already red.
Riding that's predominantly migrant. There's like 100,000 people in the riding, and 60,000 of them are migrants. So 40,000 of them aren't. 60,000.
Well, I'm not disputing that like first generation immigrants, and there's one thing like like we're talking about legal immigrants too. It's not the migrants on Roxham Road. They're, you know, not on the same path to citizenship, and you need to be a citizen to vote, and that takes 3 years for a first generation immigrant. That was the Trudeau regime when they first came in. They rolled it back. It was 5 years, and they rolled it back to 3, and that is part of the strategy. But it is to create new ridings within, like, around the metropolitan areas, because the metropolitan areas are always red, and first generation immigrants.
And they put them in the east too, right? Like they don't put these migrants out west,
but
put them out in the east, because then they get.
I would say Calgary would be a good strategy, because it's already kind of going left over there. And like I said, the first generation immigrants overwhelmingly vote left, and that is the strategy. But you still have to get Elections Canada to redraw the ridings, right? Like you have to have enough people to create new ridings in order for it to matter, because that's what we count at the end of the day in the election,
and
right?
he's
Not
done that
the
in the
votes.
last 5 years. It's happened. So
No, the ridings, they don't have the new ridings. So.
Maybe not this one, but the last one. If you look out east, there are way more ridings out east than there are out west. And there's a reason for that, because the eastern part of Canada is typically liberal. And I grew up in Alberta. I grew up in the west. There's a different mentality out west than there is out east.
But it's by
There's
population.
a very stronger mentality towards self-independence and self-governance out west than there is in the eastern, particular Atlantic part of Canada. It's no offense, but you know, when you look at
but you're all red. Look, you're wearing red, Jeff. You're in the east. You're wearing red.
Yeah,
what's
it's
going
a commie
on?
Christmas, boys. It's a commie Christmas. And by the way, like Donald Trump is not on this sweater. So.
Okay.
Yeah. It's I'm making Christmas
Republican red.
Absolutely.
But you know, all those.
But that's how I see Canada. Like it's like.
No, I mean it's like
it's
the details though. Like it's not all the way there yet, right? It's like the trap hasn't closed. It's a long game in that regard, and they don't have they don't have it yet. They just added a riding, I think, or a couple out west, in the last one, but that was just like last year or the year before.
Yeah, those ridings are where they seated the migrants, and they're all red.
I'd have to look it up, but I saw it before. I don't know what it is. It's like every 3 or 5 years that Elections Canada does that. So, so they won't have them for this election if it comes up in the spring. That's kind of what everybody's speculating anyway. And Trudeau did, give his marching orders for everybody to start preparing. So we'll see.
Go ahead, Mike. You were going to say something?
Yeah, I was just going to say, like the refugees, when they first come to Canada, they put them in a hotel in Toronto that's, mid-grade or whatever, but then they move them from that hotel a month later, and they're in a like a hotel that's probably $300 to $400 a night, right? Like that much nicer. And like I heard one guy's been there for 8 months, right?
Yeah.
And, so they're getting treated like that. And where are they getting the money for a car?
Yeah.
Where are they getting? How are they able to get a loan? Right. So the Afghan that I helped, then he bought a car, got a loan. He said without credit. How does that happen? Right.
Yeah.
So that kind of behind the scenes shit is going on. Right.
Well, this happened when I took over as Dom Ops or Domestic Operations Officer for Joint Task Force Central, which is Ontario. I was reading like the previous year's reports. They have standing comp plans for flooding and all the different ops that they have. But in 2017, I think they spent $230 million mobilizing the army in Cornwall to go up and set up mod tents and start processing all the Haitian refugees who were running away from Donald Trump. All those people got in to the country. They got top-notch medical care, assessments, whatever. They got put in hotels in Toronto, and they got per diems for food, and they had everything. They were just being completely, and these weren't even legal migrants. They were illegal.
Mm-hmm.
And instead of turning around the border, Trudeau mobilized the army and processed all of these people. I wish I had saved the report because I had the numbers, how many people were coming in every single day. We're talking thousands and thousands and thousands of people that were all being processed by the army to get into Canada. So it's just gonna, it's much like what's happening on the southern border in the United States now, where people are just walking in. And actually, it's maybe not, because they're sort of, our country is even more welcoming. Here's the army. Oh, here we'll process you. Here's all the medical. Here's the hotel. Here's your per diem. Here's where you can buy smokes and whatever. So pretty sad.
I think, and it's all part and parcel with kind of what I've been commenting on in the past with the art of war. Sun Tzu, supreme art of war is to subdue the enemy without fighting. And it's I was kind of reviewing there recently a presentation on the fall of Rome, and the parallels are absolutely striking, where the army essentially deserted because leadership betrayed, and they filled the ranks with immigrants from the barbarian hordes, which is what they called them, mostly from the Germanic tribes and probably Thracian. But the thing is, they weren't produced by, the state of Rome. They weren't educated by the state of Rome, and they, didn't feel a debt of service to the state of Rome. And so they didn't serve it. And there was a lot of like free wheat, the welfare state. They needed that coming in from Egypt at the time to kind of feed the people that they were bringing in. And anyway, it is a slow collapse over a long period of time, but that is the process. And I can't help but wonder if maybe we haven't been playing this game with the East for a long, long time,
Yeah, it's dismal.
It ties into them just opening up recruiting in the CAF, right, to landed immigrants.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yep.
So I mean, there's that, and there was a lot of immigration toward the end of the empire, and also when Julius Caesar when he took power. It was emergency powers. I can't remember what they called it there, but it was essentially he invoked the Emergency Act and he made himself Caesar and ruled like a king, and he never gave powers back. And then it just became Game of Thrones from there, and that's all of what we see kind of happening right now is self-serving leadership. Just playing the Game of Thrones for their careers at the expense of everybody else's lives. And, the army's been decimated, the military's been decimated, and they're kind of treating the people who have served, the empire as sort of, entries on a spreadsheet that are perfectly interchangeable with, their human resources. So all these people are the same and stuff like that. So it's the same kind of, it's a fourth turning, right? That's what I'm driving at here is the end of the Roman Empire was a fourth turning. And I got to do a really good presentation on that. I think I'm going to knuckle down over the holidays here and finally crank that out. But yeah, I mean, like I said, just start reading a little bit about the end of the Roman Empire. A lot of people forget that the West is just the Roman state, whereas the Byzantine Empire was the Eastern state. And really, Egypt was kind of like a state itself, but they didn't really treat them with the same status because they were utilitarian and not democratic. But I digress. You get the idea. Like there's a very complex story behind its decline, and the parallels with everything that's happening today in the politics and the culture and the policy and the leadership is it's unbelievable. How striking it is, really.
Yeah, it's gotta be showing that way, right? The way the military is going, the numbers dropping, garbage.
What military? Canada doesn't have a military.
Policies.
No, we just got some people in uniforms. They got no guns. They got no vehicles. They got no ammo. They got
stop calling it that. But I keep saying I don't want to be complicit in this wrongdoing. They're just leading lambs to the slaughter, even by calling that a military at this point. And I just don't want to see our young people,
And we're getting our, I talked to a buddy who's still in, and he said their warning order is going to be coming down for next year from, I think it's either 2C JOC by SJS and DNOP, but it's basically like you need to force generate an entire brigade to go to Europe, not just the battle group that they have there right now. They said they want an entire brigade. So we're just going to wait to get some confirmation on that and maybe get some eyes on
vehicles.
Exactly. I know exactly. But this is the thing. They're going to scrape together the remnants of the CAF, send them over to a world, potentially a world conflict, get them all wiped out. And then we have nothing left. And on top of that, my buddy said that with the attrition rate, which even though the government says, oh, it's only 10%, but we gave the number to Epic Times that it was 18.5% from one of our people on the inside. And my buddy said all the senior guys are getting out. And he said there's this vacuum of promotions, and you have like warrant officers and petty officers who have just been promoted out of necessity. And he said those are the people who are going to go over. You're going to have all these inexperienced soldiers and sailors and airmen going over to Europe to potentially get wiped out in a large conflict.
And sea person, not sailor anymore. Sea person.
Yeah. No. It used to be seaman. Now it's sailor. We have to say sailor now.
What do you think about that, Drew? I don't mind that one too much. I think that's a pretty good trade-off.
Yeah, it's just like, I don't know, able seaman, ordinary seaman. You just say it for so long. It's not a big deal to me, right? Like you have Killicks and stuff like that. So not a big a big deal. But they're doing it for the sake of diversity, inclusion, and equity, right? Which is
and I mean
always a red flag in my opinion.
Well, yeah, it is, but at the same time, I'm just mean like the word is a good word choice, because now it's a long boat full of sailors.
Yeah.
As opposed to seamen.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't care too much, but the thing is, you want to get a brigade over there, because you guys know, for you to have one high readiness sailor or soldier or ship or whatever, you need 3, preferably 4 to be able to maintain that one high readiness unit deployed, right? Like at MTOG, we have four teams. So they cycle through those 4 teams from high, standard, low, and extended readiness, right? And then we cycle those teams through. So how many rotations do you think they'd be able to sustain a brigade in Europe? 1, max 2, right? Like they're not going to, because then for 5,000 troops, you need 15 or 20,000 soldiers or whoever makes up that brigade to maintain the rotations.
And just to kind of put this in perspective, you know, to highlight it for anybody who's not really thinking with their veteran cap on right now, like we're sending the entire force over to, you know, the western border of Russia. And here the northern border of Russia is left undefended by Canada, by us. And what have they got? 20 bases up there. Every one of them has a nuclear icebreaker. So they're pointed right at us, and we're sending our whole military over to Europe. So not a good strategy in my humble opinion.
And like, do they even have weapons? Because if you look at some of the training videos that they have where 3 PPCLI is over there training guys, it's like they're not using C7s. They're using like British weapons, AKs. It's like I've not seen a single video where there's a fucking Canadian soldier using a Canadian weapon.
What?
So like my question is, do we have them? Do we even have C7s and C8s anymore?
I had a C8 on my last.
We don't have labs.
No, you guys got TAP Vs, those new top heavy pieces of shit that everyone hates.
Then do we even have those?
Yeah, you do have them, but
in Moana Armories in Calgary, their TAP V got taken away, and they have like 10,000 rounds. This is all they have, live ammo. They've been put on a live ammo hold for 2 years. Not a single guy there has fired a single live round in 2 years.
Yeah. I
and
showed
they have 10,000 rounds for the Calgary Highlanders, the King's Own Calgary. Like, what the hell? That's like frontline ammo for a platoon.
James is saying it's 37 howitzer 777s with no ammo that apparently went over there. So
37, like, that's insane. That's like, that should be.
What about,
you know? We
what
have
about
3
us?
artillery groups,
Canada.
right? 1 RCHA, 2 RCHA, and the fucking in the French one. So they got enough guns to fill one. They're literally sharing their equipment.
Well, and at one point, is Vladimir Putin just going to say, okay, guys, we're clearly at war, and just come over the pole with no military here, you know?
Didn't he offer some sort of peace agreement this morning?
You know, I don't know, but honestly, like, I'm just looking at what people are doing, and Putin keeps trying to come back to the table, like, and he keeps, you know, bringing new evidence of biolabs, and that's all obviously shady as hell. So there don't appear to be any good guys in this war. But yeah, I mean, I think it's important to. I gotta wonder.
That's a good point.
I gotta wonder. You know what? My understanding right now is no, I don't think so. I think we just kind of get exploited by our leaders from time to time in our history. So
yeah, and that's one thing I was thinking. You know, because you know, our organization, we're working on doctrine, policy, and that sort of thing. And you know, one of the things we want to do is give a voice to the members still serving, right, who aren't able to speak out. And you know, like, one of the things I was thinking about was like, man, we should be pushing for people to get out of this military, this woke, you know, garbage military that we're in. And that's why when I got medically released, I could have kept doing my job for 3 years, retention, right? Like, there was no issues like bad back and knee and that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. I told my CO, I was like, listen, I can no longer in good conscience recruit young Canadian men and women to your shitty woke military, right? Yeah. So I'm out. Like, if you guys want to keep me and sweep floors and that sort of thing, I'll do that. But I'm not a military career counselor, because it's just not, it goes against what I believe.
Yeah, I know. It's a really sad state of affairs in that military right now. And I think you and I, Drew, we probably pulled the plug like right around the same time. I was September 2021. And
August 26th for me.
Yeah. And we just skated out in time to miss the vaccine mandate, because that came in October. And I remember, like, I was still in Ottawa. I'll tell you a little story. I was in Ottawa and I was handing over a secondary duty that that I just held on to. It was like a community affairs thing. It was volunteer stuff. I was already released, but I was just still doing the handover with this thing to somebody who was still in. And she was talking about how the strategy in recruiting now has to be more wokeness and no dress standards, and how the kids all want to have purple hair and stuff like that. And I was just like, yeah, I'm not so sure about that. And she was adamant, though. She doubled down, and she was very adamant that no, this is what the recruiter said, and this is the truth. And I was like, well, do you have a report to look at or whatever? And she says, well, I think, and I was like, well, I think that it's a good time to be getting out, because once they get done purging the ranks with this vaccine mandate, the only people that'll be left are the ones that will do and think whatever they are told. And that was one thing.
So much for disobeying an unlawful command, hey?
Yeah. Well,
like you take a day-long lecture of that in basic, take a day-long lecture of that in battle school. So much for that lecture. It's like,
well, and all the doctrine that we have that's been formed in the wake of Somalia has been, like the ethics doctrine is really good. Like it really drives home this idea that your duty is not to simply follow orders, but to ensure that your orders are legal and ethical. And that's reinforced like in all the doctrine, all the presentations that have come out over the last few years, and to just see it totally turned on its head, like with a change of command at the level of CDS, is just astonishing. I mean, I knew they were hypocrites for years, especially with the op honor stuff. I was just looking at that sleaze Vance, like, yeah, you just wait, you're probably the worst one. And sure enough, like it was almost, everybody groaned. The entire CAF, gave a collective groan when the revelations about Vance came out, because it's just so typical.
But the thing with Vance is what pissed me off is like, okay, you're not allowed to date anyone in your chain of command or whatever. When you're the friggin' CDS, everyone is in your chain of command. Everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, so yeah, and so they did, and this is what happens. All the issues that we had that I've seen in my career, it was the old guard and the senior guys who were doing all of it. Right? It was like a chief engineer on one of the boats. He was doing it. It wasn't any of the young guys and gals. Nope. It was the old guard who were the ones responsible, and then they turn around and force us through these struggle sessions, blaming us. And it's like, you said to start looking at the chiefs and the chief warrant officers and the petty officers, senior guys, because those are the guys who were the perpetrators of it.
1,000%. I remember going to one of the early op honor presentations, and it was the chief warrant officer of the CSRTSM, and this is just when they were standing everything up. And she gave this whole presentation, and I knew what it was because I was up on this stuff. I'm just kind of a political junkie. But she gave a presentation on rape culture, and said that, we have a rape culture in the CAF. And she told a couple of stories. One of them was about a young guy who was raped 3 times in the Navy on 3 different ships. Everybody was shocked, obviously, by that. And I went up to her when she was done the presentation, and I was just like, were any of these claims ever, investigated? And she's like, oh, well, no, these are testimonials that we got from our community, our little engagement thing there where they went around doing the town halls and everything. I was like, okay, so none of these claims have actually been verified. And she's like, well, we need to be open. So, okay, all right. And the other thing was, I said, so if we're living in a rape culture, I said, do you mean to say that the rate of rape is going up in the broader society or in the military? Is that what you mean? And she said, oh, well, I would say that it is. Yes. And I said, well, is it? And she's like, well, I would say, yeah. And I said, well, it's actually been cut in half since the early 90s. It's literally been cut in half in Canada since the early 90s. In other words, since your generation aged out of the 15 to 39 age category, it's been cut in half. But that's what's happening, right? Is they start out hedonistic in their youth and turn puritanical in their elderhood. That's the prophet generational archetype. That's their life cycle, essentially.
Sort of like the Legion.
Exactly. It's the same problem across the board, guys. Across the board. And I mean, the Legion, hypocrites. The brass, hypocrites. Michael Wernick, first chief of the Privy Council office in history to resign his post. Hypocrite, across the board. And that's just what we see. Brenda Lucky, come on.
Oh my gosh.
Just
wait.
Well, I'll tell you what, it was like it smacked me in the face. It was unbelievable. I went back and I read the report into Somalia that the commission produced. And that's what they said. I was like, oh my God, yes, this is these guys. They said that they were just naked careerists who would cover for each other, tended to blame the lower ranks. They showed contempt for the troops, and they will lie right to your face. And they don't even care if you believe them. As a matter of fact, in my experience, they'll get quite offended, if you don't believe their lies. That's what they said about them back then. And it's just the same people that hung around forever and wouldn't leave even when they were incentivized to do so with the FRP. They're running the whole show now. That's why it's particularly bad in the military, is because I think if we're going to have a problem with a generation that's up and coming, it's probably going to show itself first in the military. As in, if we're going to have a problem with people who can't be trusted with power over other people, it's probably going to show itself in the military first. That should have been a real red flag. But they gave them all the orders that they needed. They gave them the ethics program. It was like, okay, baby boomer, open up, here comes the choo-choo ethics train. And they gave them everything in the PER, the SIFPAS system, with the complete instructions in the help file. Here you go, guys. This is how you got to run things. You can't keep running it like it's your little gang, picking your friends to come with you and stuff like that. And that's what they still do. They still do the bun toss. They don't follow the orders that they were given in the wake of the Somalia affair. They still do the bun toss. They still
the bun toss still happens the day to this day.
They never changed, not one bit. They were ordered to follow that process, and they won't do it. I wanted to 1 second here. I might.
I gotta get out of here though. I gotta take my dog for a walk. We've just been in here a couple hours, so.
Yeah, bro. Hey, Sean, thanks for coming out, man.
Yeah.
It's always great.
Yeah, no problem, guys. Thanks for having me. Merry Christmas.
See you, buddy.
Merry Christmas, brother. I got a letter from one of my grievances that I'm still fighting with the CAF. And hang on a second. I think I can dig this up really quick. Yeah, okay. Here it is. I'll put this up for you guys. This is unbelievable. So I just got the initial letter. They say it's a disclosure package, but they do not disclose anything. Here it is, 12 December 2022. This one, now, just to kind of give you the overview here, what happened was there was a guy, friend of mine, excellent guy. If anybody deserved to get the nod for chief more than I did, it was this guy. The thing is, it was not possible for him to get promoted ahead of me because we got promoted on the same year, which we did our entire careers. And he went and did his French course. I already had my French. I did it on my own. And so he gets a PERX, and that means he gets his warrants PER cut in half for his first PER as an MWO. Then he's got one PER as an MWO, and he's gone. So, 2 PERs, I think, is an MWO. So anyway, and I had 3 PERs as an MWO. It's like, you can give him 100% on every PER that he got, and it doesn't matter. I still beat him. And I scored it all out and said, it's just not possible. And so they came back, and I got to get back to them with, my response. But here they say that it's unbelievable. What they say here is that, so they say I scored everything pretty good. Here it is, blah, blah, blah. Okay. I'm pretty close to what they scored me on, but it's below the threshold, which doesn't explain, if I'm below the threshold and the other guy's below the threshold, then how did he get to the board, right? But he went and I didn't. And they're coming back and they're saying, calculating was programmed incorrectly as it calculated an average previous 2 years with the PERX was given. This has since been rectified. So they're saying Nevertheless, it's important to highlight the fact that DMCSS confirmed that in previous years the calculating system was programmed incorrectly. So that's what they're saying. Computer glitch, guys. It's a computer glitch. So they're basically kind of reaching in and picking their guys, and they get the nod. Go ahead, the guys that they want. And when somebody catches them red-handed, they come back and say, "Oh yeah, it was a computer glitch. This guy got to the board as a result of a computer glitch. Was scored by a round table of human eyes." On paper alongside all of these other guys who got there properly and somehow managed to beat out them to get the promotion too. So none of this adds up, and they're trying to say a computer glitch. It's quite hilarious.
Yeah. Well, I don't think the organization's not going to change. I think my big push personally is going to be reaching out to my buddies who are still in it, be like, man, get out before you get sent to this conflict overseas. You get wiped out. It's like, and we have like people reach out to us and like we get so much hate mail. It's pretty funny. I just read through it and laugh. I shared some funny ones with Jeff where they were calling him, I can't remember, but it was hilarious. But the thing is, people are like, oh, you guys are traitors. You go fight for Russia and Ukraine. It's like everything that we do, and like people are like, oh, you're an extremist group. It's like we've done nothing extreme whatsoever. In fact, completely the opposite. And the fact that anything that we're doing when we're sort of trying to, change the direction that our country's heading because we're not sort of happy, they automatically layer it with this like Russia-Ukraine connection. I don't understand that.
Well, they want the war. That's what it is.
But they're like Putin puppet. Like, what the hell? I don't even know anything about Russia. Well, I know a little bit, but not very much, and I don't follow the conflict that closely because I'm trying to worry about Canada, not Russia and Ukraine. But we get so much stuff sent to us about that just because we're sort of trained war fighters and stuff. It's like, fuck, we don't have an opinion on that.
All we are saying is give peace a chance.
Yeah,
come on, boomers. Like that was you guys. And nobody's driven, no generation among us has driven more people into the meat grinder of history than the boomer generation. Like from George W. Bush, Obama to there was the Gulf War I, Gulf War II, Afghanistan, back in Iraq again, and for the campaign to destroy ISIS, and they waste lives. They fail to engage in diplomacy. They double down against their adversaries. Me, now, and it wastes lives. That's what's happening.
William's back. Looks like he's done his card game.
Oh, okay.
I'm just gonna take my dogs out. I'll be right back.
Yeah, right on. Hey, well. Oh, I don't know if you can hear me yet.
Hello.
Oh, there he is.
Hey, I got to ask you guys a question.
Go ahead.
With all this money we're sending over to the Ukraine and arming the Ukrainians and stuff, what do we really owe Europe? What do we owe them?
And especially East Europe, they were part of the Soviets for a while there, and I don't begrudge them that. I'd like to see them, become a modern Western democracy, but that is not the direction they're going in at all. With Zelensky, what's he doing? He banned the Greek Orthodox Church or something now. He banned a church there now, and he's jailing political adversaries. He's banning political parties. Like, there's nothing democratic about what's happening over there, and it's not something that we should be supporting in any regard. And there seems to be credible claims of them engaging in ethnic cleansing in the Donbass region. So, no.
Yeah, well, they were doing some pretty nasty stuff even before the Russians came in. So,
yeah, exactly. And those you're talking about people living in their indigenous homeland, still squabbling over the same borders that their ancestors have for, since time immemorial. So, I don't understand. There is no interest for us. The interest is Ukraine was the money laundering country for Joe Biden's, Chinese oligarch pals. And Donald Trump got wise to it on the perfect phone call. And that's why they had to get him out of there with that sham election there in 2020, because the whole damn Clinton, Obama, Biden machine was about to come down, and the Chinese need them. So anyway, they're all kind of their interests are all aligned, and I don't think they have to have meetings every week to decide what they're going to do. They just have to understand that they're all kind of in it together and looking out for their own interests. As long as they keep doubling down, because it's either that or come clean, and they're not going to do that because they're in a lot of trouble if they do. So they're probably just going to keep doubling down on one crisis to the next, to the next, to the next, just to keep us off balance. And before you know it, we'll be in World War III.
I'm just saying, like, we really don't owe the Europeans anything.
No. What is the case they're even making?
Yeah.
Anybody know?
What is the case they're making?
No, I don't understand.
I don't understand it. Really, this whole thing that's going on in Europe, this mess. This has been going on. It's been brought on by bad deals made in the past. Dealing with after the First World War, the Second World War, actually even before that. Dating back to the last of the Prussian and the Napoleonic Wars in the late 1800s.
Yeah,
and the Balkans has never been cleared up. That's been going on for 300 years.
Yeah, we're talking about some really intractable conflicts over there that I don't know, we can just throw money at it. And I don't know that we're in a position to do anything about it because they haven't taken the military seriously really ever. They kind of played along for a little while. We were in Afghanistan there, but as soon as we pulled the plug there, it was like, okay, guys, it's back to the Reagan years. And it's like, no, the world has changed, guys. You don't understand. It's not the Reagan years anymore. We have these ancient enemies that are still at the gates. And, there's really nobody looking out for us right now because I don't think that this generation of leadership really gets any of that stuff,
Well, it's amazing what happens after a couple of generations, because the communists and the fascists are in bed together.
Yeah, they do make good ideological bedfellows, both being on the left side of the spectrum,
50 years, 60, 70 years ago, they hated each other's guts.
Yeah, but they have shared interests again because they're socialist in nature.
I understand that.
Yeah. So they actually make better allies than adversaries when you have the free world to consider. So it's geopolitical now. It's not just the fascists and communists competing for Europe, I guess.
It's just corruption right now. It's just money laundering, sending money back to Canadian politicians or U.S. politicians, right?
Yeah. That's all it is.
The money's not going to anything but coming back and going into everybody else's pockets, right? Why else would in the U.S. Senate or whatever, all the people stood and applauded a foreign person coming in and putting up their flag in their and being told what to do in their house, right?
Yeah, did you see him kissing Nancy Pelosi, man? That'd be like kissing your great grandmother.
And some guy not even wearing a suit, right? Wearing fucking cargo pants and a fucking sweater, right?
They're disheveled.
They're laundering their money, right? They're all clapping because all the money's coming back to them, right?
Yeah, and I think that's the way it always works. All systems, whatever you want to call them, tyrannical systems are effectively, I guess, oligarchies. The ruling class is just exploiting the rest of us, and that's kind of where we are now.
Hey, man, we got one of the best, and he wears a suit and a smile.
Yeah, I don't even know that he's a good actor, though. I've always said that about Trudeau. It's that's what I see when I'm looking at this guy. I see that he's acting poorly.
Who's actually running that frickin' show then?
Yeah, he
Keep going higher.
Right? Because the guy's a dipshit. I mean, really, honest to God, I wouldn't follow him. I wouldn't follow him for an Easter egg hunt.
No, it would probably involve some drag queens if you were to do that. So I would advise against it.
Yes, yes, and some, you know, some little dark areas in the bushes.
Safe spaces. That's what they're called. They're called safe spaces.
Yeah.
Yeah, right on.
Yeah, I mean, we gotta, whatever's going on. I'm sure he's just a puppet. Whoever's running that show, and I don't really think it's Schwab.
No,
that's running the show here in Canada.
I think the WEF is probably a proxy for China, just like the WHO is, and by and large, probably the UN. Yeah, I mean, it's foolish. I think that we've decided that okay, the world's dictators took a vote, and we have to we have to like destroy everything that made us great in the first place, and weaken ourselves as a society. Great plan, guys.
Well, like I'm saying, most of these big, huge world leaders, none of them have ever taken a history course in their fucking life since high school. Most of them are taking economics or, you know, accounting or statistics. They don't know fuck all about our own history.
No, they're definitely not taking the lessons of it. That's for sure. Yeah. But hey guys, we've been on the live stream about 2:15 now, and she's getting a little late on the East Coast. I think maybe it's probably a good time to wrap her up.
Bye, Merry Christmas, guys.
Yeah, Merry Christmas, brother. Thanks for coming in, Chris.
Christmas. Yeah, you too. You guys too.
Bill, have a good one, brother. Hey guys, Merry Christmas. Thanks a lot for coming in. Sax, Mike.
Signing off, guys. You guys take care. All the best to you. Talk to you soon.
Yeah, appreciate you, brothers.
Yeah, I'll message you if I come east there, Jeff.
Yeah, sounds good, brother. Just drop me a message anytime.
Yeah. All right. Take care, guys. Probably give you a call sometime too, Daryl.
Yeah, you bet. There's some shit flared up here again with Tracy and that. Did you know about that?
But I got the email, and then they sent a reply to Parks Canada, and I got that one. You're on that one too, right?
Yeah.
On that.
But
email?
now the cops have threatened them to stay out of there. Now they're going to arrest them. So.
Oh yeah. I tried to email.
Keep us posted on that one there, guys. Take care.
Okay. See ya.